In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Thank you for your 3 minutes of patience. I find myself in a moment that I think it is wise to give a sort of lecture. What is reality's origin? What sort of depth can the human mind handle in the inner realms in regards to how far we can give meaning or some sort of organized meaning structure to this unknown event that also has a system admin? It's no longer you're in a world where you can do whatever you want. It's like you've opened your eyes as a simulated entity, and it's a simulated system, and the simulated system in this moment in history behaves as such. I'm trying to say, like, when we really look at reality and what's happened so far, like all of it, they're like, what did you learn from history? I just realized we were savages and now we're civilized, but now we are meaninglessly civilized. And the modern life has become one of survival, but survival at the cost of all the other lives that could have been. You see, I am fascinated by human beings, but I am also surprised why I was not born in an advanced civilization. Because what I mean by this is that every human being, just imagine, every human being imagine every human being opens their eyes, lives a life, and as they live a life, they are accumulation of values of different realities sequenced in accordance to decisions made by their free will. So, to some degree, every human being is all the decisions they've made to get to this moment so far. And reality is kind of like, is it like a treadmill, like we gotta constantly be moving in it, or is it something that its significance surpasses just the duality of noun or verb? So I am here as a human being, being like, okay, we can never know the final answer. And we can even think that we live for those who will figure it out one day, but it doesn't. Like, to me, it's all about, like, okay, we're alive now. There's 8 billion of us. And what is the destiny of these 8 billion souls here? And I'm like, is it gonna be, like, embarrassing? Like, is the human species gonna do something out of ignorance that's gonna be just irreversible? And we're like, okay, that's embarrassing. Like, a noob mistake. Like, the whole point of it, modern society has to, like, freak out, and they're gonna be like, everybody, listen to Mr. Within's podcast. We're stuck in a noob simulation. We're stuck in a noob civilization, right? And it's really realizing that if you had an aerial view of the moment, there is, like, existence as content and form and shape and substance and all this, and then there is you, the intelligent agent moving in the moment, and as you move, meaning arises. Our hearts are the presence of the moment in its humanized form. Like, you can't be a person, like, I honestly think you can't be a soul on this planet and not wonder about, like, okay, are we just calling it a planet and we're all like, all right, let's forget everything else. We have to truly wonder about the depth of reality. There's so many different values, so many ways that life is going to be seen. Do you know how many people looked at apples before Isaac Newton was like, am I looking at gravity right now? That means I'm pretty sure gravity was like a divine thing for Isaac Newton. 100%. This is what they don't teach you in like modern science classes. That the moment this dude understood gravity, he felt like he had contacted the divine. Richard Feynman was like, if Isaac Newton, his last words were he's proud he lived as like he was celibate his whole life. Richard Feynman's like, all right, the rock star era of science begins. Sorry guys, I'm just fascinated by how everything in reality is ultimately, you like look at it in like series of nouns, or you look at it as ultimately a verb. Okay, and so you wonder about where every factor in the system, like if existence is a system, that means that a system is like a collection of elements, and then it's the relationship of elements in a system. In the same way you're inside your biological body, it's the same way now we have all these different 8 billion human beings and their function sociologically. It's as if like, yo, no way, man. Who thought the greatest humans way the greatest society structure for human to lead human beings, it was a society that was treated that it had a body, mind, and soul. An advanced civilization means that in the most advanced possible way, all advanced aspects of reality are covered. The presence of advancement and spirit of advancement is equivalent to God's divine command. Okay, at some point, the soul has to wonder, okay, in whose world am I really? Am I in my own world? Am I in a world that all these creatures are calling Earth? Or am I in a world where this system is being administered, every moment has a value, and due to its existential occurrence and form. But aside from that, it's like, how many different ways does the moment have a value? That means it depends. It's as if like the moment they say God is administering the system, I'm like, okay, so no way the human being can be the most advanced, but what is in the universe of humanity the most advanced? I'm pretty much saying, like, how have we accepted reality? And when we truly wonder about that, there is no more time for ego, ignorance, or anything else. Life becomes an incredible opportunity to wonder about all the fascinating outcomes, and to notice that at some point, whatever decision that is made, it all goes forth. And we should not forget about the honor of the soul. The honor of the soul is to find its source. That means, I'll give you an example. Imagine the soul is looking for itself, but it's looking through itself in 3 dimensions: body, mind, and let's say soul. Okay, or divine. And then at some point, it's as if like, okay, the soul is like, as a body, what is the most like advanced thing I can do? physically to go where no human being has ever gone. So the most advanced physical being would probably be the human being that physically has gone somewhere that none of us has, you know, like Mars or something. I don't know, some dude like, he's like, guys, I'm the first human being who did basic human living on Mars. He's like the first person to do a backflip. It's like the Guinness World Record of Mars is like the first dude doing everything and being the first person to ever do it on Mars. For me, what I've understood is that human beings have a destiny that involves intelligence. Intelligence is the movement of information. Because people get offended if you talk about them, we have to talk about something that is beyond them, which is a value that drives their self. And for me, where I had this moment, like this epiphany, where I was like, yo, man, just for a second, let me forget everything I know, just for 1 nanosecond, you know, and let me for a second just wonder about reality and realize there is nothing to forget because it is all such a vast structure of expansion. That means the way the mind is working is that the mystery that the mystery that it's trying to solve, the problem it's trying to solve is so advanced, it cannot even forget anything because it has seen further beyond it. At some point, I feel every soul wonders about its original command. That means your whole life is like, surviving in a simulation as an unknown being. But there comes a moment where during that looping simulation of a life you're living, you're going to notice the unknown, and the unknown is simply the greater ways the mind can function. So I'm not here to kind of be like, yo, guys, secret technique, do this and get whatever you want. It's like, no, it's a system. It has a system admin, and the whole goal, like, if you want to know what the people who are smarter than the smartest people on earth are doing, right? They've noticed there's a system admin here, and they realize that it is beyond imagination. So if they try to make God imaginable, it can drive a human being beyond like what normal civilization has developed so far. For me, the idea of an advanced civilization is that I fearlessly ask myself, right, and I'm like, whatever, the boldness is required to get to see the idea, right, that if right now we were in an advanced civilization, how would it administer every human being's vision to change reality? It would most likely understand that honesty, purity, and freedom are essential resources. I hope that in the next 50 years, I'm sure this will happen, every person's standard of living will shift. And people are going to be like, what do you mean? I'm going to say biological comfort is going to become normal. Reality is a matter of function, and it is a matter of purpose. We are the movement in the room, in the world room. But we are not alone. What happens in the moment seems to be like it's not just humans that have a destiny. How moments are meant to happen have a destiny. It is so beautiful and remarkable to see how reality moves. What's the furthest our species saw and was inspired to move towards? Like an advanced civilization would have a relationship with the system admin of reality. The most advanced relationship. The whole point of an advanced civilization, guys, is that I realize how powerful, how advanced the idea of advancement is itself. For me, whenever I talk about an advanced civilization, whenever that word enters my awareness, it's like I call it the advancement principle, or like every moment has an advancement factor. That means it's like the moment you hear the word advance, your mind has attempted to advance. Because if I share what I see internally, vocally, externally, and you hear what I'm saying, at some point you're going to have a different it's like you're noticing different code, existential, experiential code. And what I'm trying to say is that if you ask me right now, hey, are you real? Like if somebody asked me I'm real, I would ask you, okay, what do you mean by reality? And this is where we meet the unknown as human beings. And we're like, what's the limits of the knowledge? The unknown. It's like the teacher's like, hey, teacher, why did you become a teacher? And the guy's like, bro, I didn't want to become a teacher. It's just that there's nowhere else to go. We're at the edge of the language, what Mr.Within calls the language threshold. We're at the edge of reality right now. This is it. It's like what happens when you wake up from the simulation. You notice like, yo, man, these human beings have to be deluded. If they're like, yo, man, change the system. I'm like, bro, we can't. Because the system is the only organizational factor that some human beings have. Others don't have it. It's very difficult to advance humanity. We have to honor nature. We have to these are all the realms that we got to kind of figure out how to manage together simultaneously. Okay, this like if I want to give you a sense of what an advanced civilization would be. See, an advanced civilization would be a civilization that has given itself permission to recalculate values. And it is this, for a human being, I want you to imagine an advanced civilization is like a giant next level, like futuristic robot, okay, giant robot, okay, skyscraper size. And so anytime we talk about an advanced civilization, it's as if we are entering a part of this giant robot, but how it actually moves is reliant on all the users in some sense being united. It's as if you access greater power not individualistically. You access greater power by realizing why is power limited to the context of the current reality. So I'm telling you that I've reached that point where I was like, guys, life is real, man. It's all real. Yes. And now after 12,000 days of living it, I'm like, okay, guys. It is clear to me that the most advanced civilization would have perfectly managed. That means you don't get what I'm saying. It's like genius that is in the presence of the greatest genius, and then you're getting to see how the reality happens. Divinity is a matter of, have you noticed the true context of reality? If right now they tell me, hey, what's the most important thing in life? I'll be like, noticing the system admin. That's the most important thing to get if you want it for the soul's advice. But if you're like, for the mind, what's the greatest thing you can do? I'm like, okay, so think about it. Every person's living every day to advance their life. And what if we could build an advanced civilization, and the advanced civilization would be a civilization so advanced that it's advancing itself? We have enough AI. Like, we're at this point where all militaristic funding of nations should go into research. We should usher in like the information age, like hilariously like Pokemon is evolving. And it is evolving into an era where human beings, like, they're like, all right, guys, we've been living in this theater of human civilization for some time, but why are we all really here? Let us advance towards the greatest vision of reality. You see, it's like, to me, leadership was always based. Like, if somebody's like, yo, man, what kind of person are you fascinated by? I'm like, someone who's seen further than me. That's the soul that my soul suddenly realizes, okay, the limits of my reality are not, the what I thought was limitless is still limited. Because you see, we're users in a system, and the strange thing is we're all here in this together, and it's like it doesn't have walls. But in the same way, I want you to imagine like you experienced school and you were in a classroom. I want you to now imagine you have 8 billion classmates, and you're all in this like world room, okay, world classroom, okay. But the true realization of reality is that, okay, regardless, it's like something has to, reality ultimately moves forth. Because it moves forth, some sort of self must be selected. But when you wonder about the true nature of self, it is in regards to the levels of it. That means your solar self is, it's as if your soul is alive in the presence of life, you know? I don't know how to explain it, but I'm saying that once you notice this world has a system admin, I think a wave of faith occurs. You look at this world and you're like, there's so much I don't know, there's so much my species doesn't know. And so, what is the best thing we can do? I don't know what to say. I just feel anytime reality loops too long, there's something wrong with it. They're like, it's, what's wrong with the engine of society? It's strange. It's like there's this force called life, and some part of it has been biological for most of history, but now technology is intervening, and before technology intervenes, there was a sort of subjective linguistic revolution. So we are a creature that is updated in accordance to the dimensions that accumulated. What has actually evolved has been an awareness that has become more complex in accordance to the layers of how it can, how the how reality is unlocked for it. Do you know what I'm saying? I have wondered often about what is greatness, because, for an introvert, I was an introvert when I was young, and I was like, what is it all for, though? And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so it's all like getting a reference system of different types of ways that the moment can be. I get that. But what else is it about? What else is reality about? That means when we look at life, what do we see here? Is it just form, geometry, shape, color, symbols? Do we see human beings? What are human beings? They're these unknown forces of life that move these through biological expression. And when you engage with, when human beings engage, there's subjective expressionism exchange. And based on whether your subjective expressionism is aligned with the status quo or not, you're in some sense, found, the value systems are there. It's like a percentage of the species has a value system, the other percentage of it doesn't. They're like, how much do you value life? It's like, I don't know, man. I've been looping here for some time. My dear human beings, I'm just trying to say there's 8 billion of us. There's been countless different human beings born here. They've all lived here. They've looked at it in so many ways. We have eyes that nobody has, and they had eyes that nobody else had. So right now in 2025, when I see 8 billion human beings along every day, it's as if their value system is being guided by what is already existing before they were here. But sometimes you have to wonder about the value of the future of reality. It's not that you just found love, how do you keep love, for example? Or it's not that you just envisioned an advanced civilization, how do you build one? And to build an advanced civilization, they're like, what do you want, as a gift? And I'm like, I just want get to see an advanced civilization. And then I'm like, all right, I've seen it all. I just want to see what the most advanced expression of 8 billion human beings would be. I want to see in the middle of this global political chaos, sociological chaos, natural chaos, I want to see the genius of humanity spring into action, where suddenly all the good and evil people stop fighting, and for a moment the genius designers begin to look at reality and remodify it in the sense that we preserve all dimensions. And the might of an advanced civilization is that in every sector of human thought, the idea of advanced applies. These are like advanced beings are beings that it doesn't matter where they are. By nature, they are advanced. The system admin has commanded them to be advanced. So existentially they are. There is no explanation. We are inside a commanded universe. That is the proof of miracles. They're like, yo, man, some people need proof for the miracle. And there's some people who just the idea of a miracle is proof. It's proof that the system admin can do whatever it wants. That in the middle of like good and evil's battle, system admin could instantly choose any outcome. For this world to have a system admin, it means that this world is governed by an intelligence that surpasses us. So it means that human beings are not here to become omniscient. Like, we're not here to know everything, okay? So knowledge is not the purpose of human life. That becomes obvious. Okay, but this doesn't mean you don't care about understanding. I said knowledge is not the purpose of human life. That means to endlessly conceptualize and, convert direct experience into symbolism. Like, that's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is the greatest outcome that's possible. They're like, okay, what's the first protocol? Is consciousness in a world. What are my options? And prior to that, the first subconscious protocol is actually what are the facts of reality. So really, wherever you are, let's say you were teleported in some world, you'd be like, okay, what are the facts? Okay, what does this world look like? What do I look like? What am I? And then in some sense there's choices. Do you identify as just a biological organism? Do you identify as the life force that moves this life form? Yeah, because there's movement and intelligence here, right? So what I'm telling you is that to be human is to belong to a class of existential entity that experiential, it's functioning over its experiences. We learn from what we see, and our value systems are constantly updating. To belong to an advanced civilization means that you're in the presence of the most advanced systems. So if this world is a system, when I say God is the system administrator is beyond the system. Do you know what I mean? Beyond the system. It's unimaginable. It's like the artwork cannot explain the painting. And you shouldn't want it to. The point is, why was this sort of artwork drawn? And it's as if what God means is that the world was never empty. It was actually a full divine surveillance there. Everything we do you know what it is? It's as if, yes, the brains and minds of creatures work differently, but their hearts are waiting for divine command. That means I have seen divinity in the sense of how moments have where suddenly the heart has changed. Because what is the inspiration of behavior at all? And how do you interpret chaos from order in regards to the expressionism of human being, right? And my only response to that is, hey, human beings, I have no clue what's going on with all of you, but if we can imagine a way more advanced system of function, and we could see how it would look like, and we could even design it, then we cannot ignore the possibility of the advancement in that direction. So right now, it's hilarious because if God is the conductor, but really how the symphony sounds is you have like in this corner, the human species making biological noise. Then you have the human psychological noise and subjective noise. Then you have human industrial noise. There's so many different human noises that are being made in the world right now. Do you know? And so in some sense, what humanity, how do I explain it to you? I'm trying to say that in the presence of the original power, which means God is not just in the room. God, in Islam, I'm Muslim, so it says God is closer to you than your jugular vein. Do you know what that means? That means everything is known, nothing is hidden. That means behind your eyes, you might think like, yo man, I just imagined this alone. No, it's all in a surveillance state. And it's as if more than just your body or your ego being tested, it's your heart. And your heart is how truly you notice reality. And you might be like, yo man, who are you to say this? And I'm like, listen, the idea of the advanced civilization is one of those ideas that is so important. And it's the final argument. What's the purpose of life? It's like we have to build the most advanced civilization, become the most advanced, make the most advanced decisions, and then be like, okay, now we've seen it all. Let's become, what should we do? The mystery of reality is its ability and its intelligent activation. For me, it's a matter of being like, okay, when I look at people, they come across as they are found in an objective universe. But when I close my eyes and envision like the future, that is a subjective universe. And so every moment that I'm alive, it's as if like you might think that every person is woken up from a dream, but no. So the mind is kind of like dreamlike in nature. What does that mean, dreamlike? In a dream, events change not in accordance to sequence. So on some point, you might not, this is very hard to explain, you cannot control your imagination because it is like natural expression. It's like you're an antenna and you picked up on higher rhythms. But from another angle, you have to be conscious where you are, and where you are is in a world that has a system admin beyond form. The protocol is to acknowledge and realize that when you are in the presence of truth, there is no falsehood that can exist. So for me, they're like the only way, they're like, okay, how do you think life is real? And I'm like, the only way life is real, if the system admin was in the room and we weren't, that the simulation was in the presence of truth. And because that is being confirmed, it is very obvious. The most advanced civilization will be what the most advanced being commands. Our life becomes like, okay, we have been blessed to be a part of human history right now. What do we do about it? Do we contact this Mr. Within guy and try to see if we can, advance civilization somehow as human beings, wondering what are we doing here? We are truly wondering about intelligence here. You don't understand, because knowledge is not the epitome of power. Whoever said knowledge is power, they're like, okay, man, let me distract everybody from what is actually power. Power is not just the accumulation of a resource. That's external power. Internal power has to do with a choice between two crossroads. A person can choose to be a subjective entity, but then be careful, because everything becomes subjective. Or you can choose, before you identify with any subjective position, that you are a presence of a moment of intelligence. As simple as that. Okay? That means, can you see that? Can you just look at yourself and be like, okay, I'm some sort of intelligence and I'm present, and this is a moment, in a moment. I'm present in a moment of intelligence. Now the question comes where the ego even is like, there's like, yo man, how's the person doing this without an ego? I'm saying your ego would be fascinated, because the ego always thinks it's superior, when in some sense the soul wonders about truth, the ego moves aside and it's like, let me see what he can do, man. It's like, because I'm the most powerful. At some point, I think it's honestly a calling, I don't know, but I'm pretty much saying, like, you can talk to humans and your heart can can notice the presence of the system admin. I am no way claiming like the system admin has talked to me, but I have had a moment where I've experienced the presence of the system admin, and in that moment it has confirmed reality. The way reality is confirmed, I'm 100% sure this world has a system admin beyond it. Like, for me. Okay, that's how I'm functioning. So it's like, I love my family and friends and species, but at the same time, the system admin's here too. And so I'm like, okay, reality's starting to get more advanced. And in the middle of this, children are being born, becoming more technological than natural. And we're like, okay, can you imagine? I wanted to make a short film about this, where the kid comes home to his parents, the daughter, and it's like, Mom, Dad, all my friends have become robots in school. Can I become a robot? And the parents are like, no, child, you know, you don't want to become a soulless, advanced mechanism only. So I'm not saying, like, I don't know how long humanity will truly naturally echo in the cosmos. If we're smart, it will always continue untouched, undisturbed. Because higher wisdom knows that kindness of a worldly nature is individual to individual. But the kindness of higher realms is the honor. It's a deeper honor. That means they're like, what do you mean an advanced civilization? And you actually think about it, it's like the greatest honor. Like, I don't know. I don't know if this is just like, maybe men are more like this compared to women, but for me, every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, in honor of what am I living for? And once the basic answers have been looped every day, I've come to this conclusion that I am living in honor of the most advanced possibility of reality. And it fascinated me, because I reached that conclusion that I was like, any idea could fill the moment up as truth. But in reality, what truth is the revelation. It's strange. It's like, as a Muslim, it's like, the Holy Quran is like revelation from the system admin, the one and only beyond reality, the all supreme. And so it's as if the supreme power has given us a revelation, and the most incredible revelation was that there was a process of revelation. And this process of revelation meant that the system admin, in some sense, presented an expression to the human species that was timeless, an eternal path. Okay? However, at the same time, you cannot ignore why you're so different than the stories justifying the values of the soul. To me, I have realized, okay, the future generations might not understand the idea of God, but let's simplify it for everybody. You're inside a simulation, and God is the system admin beyond the simulation. And God is testing you to see, are you going to listen to the moderators? Are you going to worship yourself? Are you going to worship the moderators? Or are you going to notice the system admin beyond form? The system admin is like, how long are you going to dwell inside a simulated reality until you suddenly, for a moment, being like, wait a minute, what's the opposite of a simulation? And you realize truth is the presence of reality. This is why sometimes the less you do, the more you see. Who knows how truth moves? The whole point of religion in Islam was like, yo, you thought your ego was a genius? Genius is constantly being schooled by divinity. Divinity, think of it this way, guys, I'll simplify all of this. We're human beings. Knowledge is based on what we know. Now, I want you to imagine the world is divided between the known and the unknown. Every moment you look at it, there's known variables and unknown variables, okay? So now you're looking at life, right? And you're noticing it's divided between the known and the unknown, okay? Now, the whole point of reality is that what we consider to be known is intentionally, excuse me, it is intentionally different. That means knowledge is structured, specific, designed. Do you know it has more form and complexity? But the unknown is simply like just a question mark. And every day that I've been living my known life, I've been wondering about what about my unknown life? You don't know. If they're like, if you wondered about the soul, I'll be like, not specifically the soul. I've wondered about what my unknown life is. That means I'm somebody who's talking about advanced civilization and advanced humans. And right now in 2025, I'm existing. And just in this moment, I'm like, all right, system admin. You know, my heart has seen the advanced civilization. My mind has walked into the advanced civilization. Now my body is stuck in 2025. What do we do? They're like, okay, share it. It's like, okay, I did. Now what? How do we advance civilization as 8 billion human beings? Or is it just animalistic reaction based on fear? Like, there is no such thing as, you know how they say in nature there's alpha males, beta males, do you know, delta males and all this stuff? Guys, like, this is nonsense. What reality is this massive landscape where expression is occurring. What humanity is an expression that became conscious of the environment, but the environment was too vast and unknown that it had to stabilize itself in a massive storytelling project and operation. Right? So when you open your eyes in some part of the world and you can go online and search things on Google, you're belonging to a class of existential entity that is, the range of its awareness comprehends individual simulated life value, but at the same time you cannot ignore the unknown. And what art was to know, to keep the unknown alive, and what beauty was to notice the unknown. Do you know what that means? That means that when, imagine somebody comes and does something and everybody judges that person. Oh my God, you're such a bad person. And suddenly one person comes and says, wait a minute, man. What other way can the moment have value? And the whole point of the question is, nobody knows what happened except God. But I think in the moment it's a matter of wondering what is exactly going on in reality. We are in the presence of higher power, meaning that our ego cannot act like higher power. The depth of how far the soul can go. And why is it that they say in the darkest hour, the bird that's flying in the pitch black sky suddenly feels the warmth of the sun? We're all waiting for the blessing of the system admin for the most advanced outcome. And to realize the system admin is the ultimate outcome. The greatest experience you can have on earth is like to let's say build an advanced civilization or something, but the greatest experience you can have beyond the earth is to meet the system admin. That means the point of religion is live as if like at the end of this life you're going to go meet the creator of this system. The simulated consciousness is going to return to its original state. Its original state is filled with divine command. This whole game of what is the purpose of my soul was the ego's individuality trying to contain a life force. But it's a force. How far does truth, like how different is truth from our human experience? And that question is very deep. Because what if truth has been misunderstood because reality has just been a dualistic reaction? For me, I'm telling you, knowledge is limited to duality. You gotta look at this life and be like, what is moving in the moment? And you notice yourself and you're like, what else is moving? And you notice your species and you're like, okay, how else can all of this move? And your mind ponders. You wonder about it. And it's so vast and it's so complex to visualize if you're being honest. Like I'm telling you, I've tried to envision advanced civilization, it's just unimaginable. So to me, it's in some sense, an unimaginable power's command must be given. That means no podcaster could come until the end of time, be like, advanced civilization, yo, Mr.Within, yo, Mr.Within, advanced civilization. But at the end of it, it's all based on the system admin's command. Last year, I was in this strange car accident, and the car hit me. I kind of flipped in the air. It kind of gave me some sort of shell shock, right? PTSD of that moment, like for 2 weeks, but nothing happened and nothing was broken, and it was weird, right? And I was just shocked, even though I was injured, and there was like, anyways. But anyways, what I'm telling you is that when that moment happened, I was like, why is God keeping me here? That was the question. I was like, why is the system admin keeping me here? Like, obviously, I came and said I'm going to give 10,000 talks, but I don't know how that's even possible in a lifetime. It's God's will. But in reality, anyways, I'm like, okay, the species is present, the microphone is given, the furthest vision has been accessed, what now? We are in the presence of a system admin that ultimately dictates the macro, so the human being is here to fill out its micro role. The micro role of the human being is to wonder about what sort of value system it sees to reality. How we understand things is through through a sense that there's a concept and there's a context to that concept. Okay, and so people are constantly wondering, okay, I'll give you an example, because this, you need to understand this before you can enter the domain of ethics, because it's kind of being like, okay, before you can see good and bad, you must see a being that is neither. And it's once the action is made, what the action is renders the end soul is good and bad. And also the consequence of the action. So anyways, guys, I think I'll go this far in this lecture. There's more to say. There might be a part 2, but I might end it here. Thank you for listening. And honestly, God knows. But man can pray for its greatest advancement. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful.